This is Abby Phillip, the host of Newsnight on CNN. Recently, a video clip resurfaced from April of 2025 where Phillip tried to make the bold legal argument that breaking the law isn't actually a crime.
We talked a lot about going after criminals. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. 7 million means that they're not just going after criminals.
Well, they're going after people who are in the country illegally, right?
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the criminals, this is a much bigger universe than
Doesn't that make you a criminal?
No, it doesn't.
To come across the border illegally?
Coming into the country illegally is a civil offense. It's not a criminal offense.
And as you can see from Scott Jennings' reaction, she is profoundly wrong. 8 U.S. Code Section 1325, improper entry by an alien. This is the federal law that addresses entering or attempting to enter the United States unlawfully, such as crossing between ports of entry. In simple terms, it is the law that makes it a crime to cross the U.S. border illegally. But Abby Phillip isn't alone in her stupidity. Let's watch former CNN anchor and amateur legal scholar Don Lemon argue with a woman who is a legal immigrant from Mexico that crossing the border illegally isn't actually illegal.
Crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
Wrong. In the United States legal system, a misdemeanor is a category of criminal offense, i.e. a crime, that is considered less serious than a felony, but more serious than an infraction. Saying that a misdemeanor isn't a crime is like saying that a Chihuahua isn't a dog because it's not a Great Dane.
Misdemeanor is not
it's
a crime?
It's not a criminal act, no. If you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
So why get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we have different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
What?
And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals, and now he's not doing that.
But Donald Trump never promised to only deport criminal aliens, but he did promise the following.
The Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I'm going to get the criminals out. And it will be the largest deportation in the history of our country. And we have no choice.
But is it the law?
What? Is it the law that what?
Is it a law to come over legally? Is there a law?
There are rules processes that you should follow. Yeah, so you're breaking rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law.
So now he's downgraded illegal border crossings from a misdemeanor to a rule. Like no shirt, no shoes, no service. And look, it's one thing when Democrat media stooges like Abby Phillip and Don Lemon push this BS, but it's another when you're a sitting member of Congress.
They continue to say things like the illegals and that they broke the law coming in. But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime.
The future president of the United States, everyone. Not to mention that Jasmine Crockett and Katie Fang are both lawyers and don't understand basic federal law. It's like finding out your heart surgeon doesn't believe in blood. But the loudest gaslighter in Congress on the issue has to be Pramila Jayapal from Washington's 7th District.
Being undocumented is not a crime. It's a point I've been making a lot lately, especially as Trump and the Republicans continue vilifying immigrants in every way, shape, and form that they can.
And this is from page 1 of the Democrat playbook. Conflate legal immigrants with illegal aliens.
The act of being present in the United States without legal status is not, standing alone, a crime. Many undocumented individuals entered the United States on a visa and then overstayed once that expired. That violation is a civil offense, not a criminal one.
While it is technically true that unlawful presence from a visa overstay is a civil violation under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the penalty is deportation and a bar from re-entering the country that can last anywhere from 3 years to forever.
When someone crosses the border without inspection or authorization, that is a misdemeanor.
Which is a crime.
And if they're removed and then come back without a permission, that is a felony offense.
Also a crime.
Because the immigration system is civil in nature and not criminal, people navigating the immigration legal system have not been entitled to publicly provided legal counsel, even though the immigration system is second in complexity only to the tax system, and the consequences of deportation can be life or death.
So what Jayapal is saying is that when it comes to immigration cases, illegal aliens are not entitled to a public defender. Probably because there's only 4 questions that a judge needs to ask. Did you cross the border illegally? Did you overstay a visa? Did you fall out of status? Are you undocumented? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then that person should be deported.
That means that 90% of immigrants go through the legal system completely unrepresented because they can't find or pay for an immigration attorney.
Oh well, not America's problem.
And in contrast to what Trump and Republicans would have you believe, undocumented immigrants contribute greatly to our country's economy. They make up more than 5% of our workforce, 1.5 million people in construction, 1 million in the restaurant industry, more than 600,000 in agriculture and landscaping, and countless others in every field that you can name.
So that's over 3 million undocumented people who are illegally working, which I'm sure that Jayapal would argue is a civil violation. However, if one steals social security numbers or uses a fake green card to acquire that job, well, last time I checked, fraud and identity theft are felonies.
They pay nearly $100 billion in federal, state, and local taxes each year. And even more of their paychecks go towards vital programs like Social Security and Medicare, programs that they're not even eligible for.
However, the Federation for American Immigration Reform and the Heritage Foundation argue that the annual cost of undocumented immigration, primarily through public education, emergency health care, and law enforcement, can range from $150 billion to over $400 billion. This means that even if Jayapal's nearly $100 billion tax revenue figure is accurate, and if the cost to taxpayers is at least $150 billion, the net result is a $50 billion deficit. So citing only tax revenue from illegals, and not mentioning the cost of being here, is like balancing a checkbook by only looking at the deposits.
And so I want you to know that 71% of the immigrants who have been detained have 0 criminal convictions. 0.
Not exactly. According to analysis of arrest data by the New York Times, 37% of those arrested had a past criminal conviction. 30% had a pending criminal charge, which means 2/3 of those arrested are criminals.
They're undocumented, but they have no other crime. And as you know, being undocumented is actually not a crime. Undocumented presence itself is a civil offense.
Kidnapping, right. Look, pretending that most illegal aliens have never violated federal law is complete nonsense. If they were working, they committed a crime. If they used fake green cards or a stolen social security number, they committed a crime. If they didn't file taxes, they committed a crime. And if they crossed the border illegally to get into the country, they committed a crime on day 1.
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point.
Anyway, that's it for now. If you want to support the channel, head over to my super cool new merch store at don'twalkrun.shop. And maybe check out some videos that you probably missed. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and hope to see you next time, if there is a next time.